Hello. So this is the first episode of my podcast. It's called The Phoenix Rising, and it's basically going to be my story. I was initially going to write it as actually write a book, but I was guided to do this instead as a sort of not a I don't think it's called a podcast when it's also video, but I don't know what to call it, to be honest, so let's go with podcast. Before I begin, I just want to express my gratitude to the universe, to God, and to my spirit team who have been with me, also to my other people who have guided me through my spiritual journey and helped me through some horrible situations. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Siobhan Sudesh. I'm an author, psychologist, and also a healer. And I also do tarot readings. I've got some psychic abilities, and I'm still kind of in my journey of discovering my gifts spiritually. So I have been getting messages again and again telling me I need to put my story out there, and that's why I'm doing this. When I was 18, I started writing my first book, and when I was writing it, I literally felt like someone else was writing it through me. Because so many of the things I didn't plan what I wrote, I didn't know what I was going to write. It was like literally I was just channeling, and I didn't even know. I did tell my family, a lot of the time I feel like I'm not the one in control here. I'm not, this is just coming through me, out of me. So that was probably my first experience, and also it saved me from depression, because when I was 17 I had depression, and everything was kind of collapsing around me, and writing these books is kind of what saved me. It took me about 10 years to finish the trilogy, so it's 3 parts. They're available on Amazon if you want to buy it, to kind of have some context to what I'm going to say now. But the reason I need to do this now is because many of the truths, and they were truths that I wrote then, I found out that many of them were truths, but there was also a huge element of me still not being aware of the truths. I was not awakened. I was still asleep, spiritually speaking. And there are many things I wrote there that are not true, that are the brainwashed version of me that kind of filtered. And I think that's also another reason why I'm being compelled to speak it rather than write, because when I write, there's always that element of editing that comes in. I'm a writer, and I naturally edit. And I'm not supposed to edit what I'm supposed to say, because it's not me saying it. There are truths being spoken through me. So I think that's another reason why I'm being guided to do this in this way. So where do I begin? Okay, so I recently found out that my family did some... Oh, actually, sorry, before that, I just want to say today's date is the 22nd of July, 2025. And the reason I'm saying it is because I'm not going to release this until it's completely finished. Like I've said everything I need to say, and I just want the date to be recorded, just to have my facts clear there. So let me start again. So where I want to start the story from is when I was 2 years old, and I exhibited gifts that freaked my family out. I was apparently doing telekinesis. I once kind of, in a fit of rage, I walked off the, no, I don't know if that was when I was 2, I don't know if I was walking at that point, but this is a memory of something. So I just want to say that the things I'm saying are a mixture of messages I've received, like spiritually recently, mixed in with my memories of things that my family have told me about. So I will be figuring this out as I go, because I don't know the whole truth. So everything I say may not actually be 100% correct. It might be I may be interpreting them, I may not be interpreting them 100% correctly. And I hope that I'll be guided along the way to correct any mistakes I've made previously. So my mother has told me that when I was angry, I just walked off the bed and I walked across the air, like without support. And then it was like someone had gently guided me down to the floor. This is something I was told by my mother, and she said my mother and my grandmother were there during this incident. So that's one thing. But recently I got this message that my family were so terrified of my gifts, and that I would use them for the wrong thing, I would use them for evil. So they took me to a practitioner to bind my gifts, I think. Okay, that part's not clear yet. Maybe later it will come. So either bind my gifts or, that's not clear yet. There must be a reason for that. And also, because I was always mature for my age and I could see through lies, everyone lies, I know that, people tell white lies to themselves, people lie to themselves. So I think I really freaked my family out because I would always see through it. When I could see through the lies so clearly. And also I always challenged systems that made no sense to me. For example, when I was at school, and during an exam, if I didn't know the answer, I would go up to the teacher and be like, oh, what's the answer to this? And they were like, what is this? What's wrong with this child? And I guess in my head, it was like, if I don't know, I should ask. It was as simple as that. I didn't really know understand the concept of, in an exam, you should do this. But those are all conventions, right? An exam itself, what is it assessing really? If you really think about it, it's. I think I always challenged the norms. I never felt like I didn't understand why I had to do certain things just because that's the way things have always been done. This was my major issue. And, my parents really tried to kind of condition me to not think in that way, to conform. And I think I did to an extent, because I realized that if I don't conform, then that leads to social isolation. And although I did experience social isolation anyway, so I'm not sure that made much of a difference. But I think I kind of, the real world syndrome kind of kicked in there. So I guess I grew up not being aware of my gifts. And also when I was a child, I used to see, I also had the ability to see spirits or whatever it was, but what I saw freaked me out. They were shadow things and dark, and I don't know if I was conditioned to be afraid of them or I was always afraid of them. But to be honest, I don't think I was always afraid, because I was always fearless. As a child, I was fearless. But I think my family were so afraid of me and my gifts that they they taught me to fear the dark. They taught me to fear the evil spirits. You know, that fear was conditioned, because now I understand that any spirit, like, people can send a spirit to do negative things to us, but that doesn't make them inherently evil. Like, they are there because they've been sent. They're not the enemy as such. And that kind of ties into what I've been saying about shadows, because I approach the shadow version of me with that same fear, and I tried to suppress it for so long, and that caused me so many problems, because it made me feel like I lack self-esteem. I stopped standing up for myself. I stopped, I stopped that shadow in me helped me when I was being treated badly. It made me stand up for myself. But over time, I was taught, conditioned to believe that me standing up for myself is a bad thing. It's a selfish thing. Because people liked me better when I was doing what they wanted me to do. When I was just a mindless drone and just listening, because I've never experienced unconditional love. None of my family members or have sort of shown me unconditional love. It's always been my way or the highway with them. And over time, I started to believe that I was the problem. And that because none of them accepted me the way I am, I had to change myself. I had to shrink myself to fit their version of love, or what a good daughter is, or it was that kind of major manipulation and toxicity, and this is what I grew up in. Like, I haven't known anything different. And what saved me was the fact that their toxicity, I don't want to dissolve them of all accountability, but it's not like they're all evil. I really don't believe that. I believe that they let their weakness and addictions and need for external validation overthrow the balance between good and evil in them. Yeah, I think that's the right way to phrase it, because it's not about people are evil or good or evil. It's not like a black and white thing. It's like both the shadow and the light are within each person. That's what I'm saying. In myself, the shadow is there. It's not like I haven't faced temptation. It's not like I haven't, been through gluttony or greed or poverty. But going through those experiences and still choosing to do the right thing, that is the difference. That is where you make that choice for light. It's not about not knowing the darkness. It's about going through the darkness but not letting it change you as a person. And I believe that's what none of my family members were able to do. For example, my mother's vanity and her jealousy towards me. She didn't want me to be better than her in any way. She didn't want me to grow above whatever level of growth that she had achieved. Her intense jealousy towards me overpowered her love for me. And she allowed that to happen because she wasn't strong enough to fight against the jealousy within her. It's not like I've never felt jealousy, but for me, it's like my love overpowers my jealousy. Like when I hear about someone else who's doing better than me, obviously there is an element of me that's sort of competitive, and I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, I'm happy for you because I love you, I'm happy for you. And it's a conscious choice. It's not like I'm better than everyone else, I'm not. But I do put in the effort. I put in a lot more effort, I have to say. And that's why I'm saying I'm not better than anyone else. I'm only doing what anyone could do. It's just that I've been through such miserable experiences where I didn't have any other sort of source of support that I had to put the way I survived is by putting my faith in God. And actually God and angels and my ancestors who are all fighting for the side of light spoke through people to give me encouragement, because as a human being, we're all vessels, and as a vessel, we're both demonic forces and light bringers can enter your work through you, and it's about how you choose to let that happen. Because I have gone through moments in my life where I let negative demons, negativity, whatever you want to call it, work through me, and that's hurt other people, and that's hurt people I care about. And that's the point where I'm like, oh, I'm hurt. I've felt self-hatred because of my weakness, I hurt someone else. And that is where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm not letting someone else be hurt because I'm not strong enough to stop the negativity that's working through me. Yeah, that's the point. So it's about what you allow to happen. It's really your choice. Yeah.